It's the birth of a new way on planet Earth. We welcome this new day on planet Earth. It's the birth of a new way on planet Earth. We welcome this new day on planet Earth. If I commit to make a shift, will you commit to give your gift? If we be the change that we want to see, the shift comes down to you and me. It's the birth of a new way on planet
All right, folks. Okay, I'm so excited. Welcome back to another episode of Practical Spiritual Advice by Infinite You, which is me, which is we. Strap in. We're going on a ride. It has been a little while, and you know how I like to do this. I'll say I'm going to be consistent, and holy shit, life just gets me going, and the synchronicities are just off the charts, and, you know, it's like, oh my gosh, this guy is the herald for the ascension process, the cosmic event, and then I'm going to kind of prove it to y'all here a little bit more, and show you how the birth of a new planet on our, a birth of a new way, a birth of a new everything. And the old world's dissolving. And this is what we're going to go through. Practical Spiritual Advice by Infinite You. Hi, my name's Harold Ho Now. Some have called me Harold Aho Now. For the Aho means a collective agreement, solidifying I believe in you. And it's like a prayer. And the now is the present moment, so the belief in each other in the present moment. And the herald is a messenger, and I'm not the only one. But hey, I've got a really cool story that says I'm one of the ones that takes you back to zero. What? Did you know that zero was the hero? Let's play with some words. All right, so... We're not going to play with words right now. No more doing that. How are y'all doing out there? Make sure you drop some information in the comments. You know, as the owner and founder of Infinite You, and, you know, this is our podcast. And, oh, by the way, Amber wanted to say hello to everyone out there. She is working out the flyer details for our next Mayan Day Out of Time celebration that happens on the 25th of July every year. So, you know, it's one of those funny things because we honor this alternative calendar system that gives us this day out of time, this 13-month, 28-day lunar cycle that has, you know, adds up to 364 days. Not 365, and so we run through this Gregorian calendar. We got an extra day in there, and that's the solar cycle. That's a solar, you know, year, whatever. So we're okay with using all these things, but this day at a time is something that I've been guided to pursue since 2021. And so now we host this event that brings the spiritual and the Earth Guardian community. Like, you know, these are people, you know, when I say Earth Guardian, who am I talking about? And those are people that have gone out and created organizations that put gardens in schools and help with like the really ground floor level of what creates a sustainable human being. And, you know, and not just the organization people that have put it together, but the ones that go out and volunteer and just and do all the different things working for a better tomorrow, but are getting their hands dirty. You know, whether they're cleaning up the rivers or they're, you know, putting seeds in soil, or they're knee deep in like mycelium networking and working with mushrooms and how it eats plastic and just all the things like creating free energy through waste, and all of those things are the Earth Guardians. And then I have the High Flyers. And the High Flyers are the ones that would be your intuitives, your readers when you go to these like transformational festivals or mini fairs that happen throughout, especially here in San Antonio. There's quite a few. we're up in this like space, and me personally, I'm both. I get out there and clean up the river, and I come out and I do this like really, we like to call it heady talk, where we're way up in the mind, and it doesn't feel always like up in the mind, but you are talking about, ETs, galactic beings, cosmic information, hermeticism, thoughts, meditation, sound, frequency, somatics, all that stuff. That's kind of like heady talk. It's not very grounded for some people that do more of this 9 to 5 type of work. So the event, the Mayan Day Out of Time celebration here in San Antonio, its first year was 2021. The day shifts. So the first year that we did it, it was on a Sunday. And this is summertime, so, there's nothing happening for most families that are like, they're not taking their children to school. That's not part of the regimen at that time for most people. So we had a really good turnout. And it all came together within like a month's time. Like I wasn't even trying to put on an event like that. And we did it. And then we did it the next year. And then we had to skip a year because, oh my gosh, there were so many things going on. That was right before what spawned the whole thing was the 2 solar eclipses at the tail end of 2023, and then 6 months later in 2024. I need to remind people that don't know, or just I need to mind them, not remind them. What I was doing at that time was trying to buy land, put on festivals, gather all these people and get money and put a business plan and project plan together to purchase land next to Enchanted Rocks. So trying to do those things along with an event in 2023 in July, there were just too many things on my plate, and I spun out of control and didn't accomplish any of them. But the work was put in because it put me in places where I wouldn't have normally been, trying to do things that I wouldn't normally try to do. So we learn, we fail forward, I get a ton of information, a lot of networking, a lot of communicating with people that I would normally, like politicians, business owners, hotel people that are, board members, and a lot of networking, a lot of business stuff. So some people laugh at my business card. You see me in a suit because I was going to shake hands with the mayor and talk about the future of downtown San Antonio. And so, that's just the things that I do. Very grounded work, very high work. And what our events, this event is about bringing those worlds together and exposing both of these hemispheres of your brain to communicate with each other in this cosmic way with these, everybody is literally planets and stars, like holographically, in my opinion, right? Holographically projected where your birthplace was at the time to imprint on the hologram as you maneuver through it, and the planets and the stars as they move, you have different experiences. Things for you ebb and flow differently than other people because of all the planets and all the stars and all that information. It's just too much to really conceive, but everything has its place. And now we are in we had to skip 1 year because of all of that. And now we're in the 4th official year, but it would be like the 5th year, I think. Am I doing that right? Yeah, we did one in 2021, 2022, skipped 2023, did 2024, and so this is 2025. So that's like our 4th year, but it technically should be our 5th if we didn't skip that one. Which is funny because if we did it and then we combine the next 2 years, which take us to 2027, that is 7 years of hosting these events. And, every 7 years we can manifest like a whole new us. We could also do it in a much quicker time, 21 days, if we collectively are aware of what we're doing. You could do big things in the world. And so that's kind of where we're going, but I'm not going to lean into that today. We're going to talk about letting it flow. That is the title of this episode, and the mode that I have been in for the last few months that have manifested my dreams, because I did not, well, I mean, it may not have all been pretty. Let me not forget the times when I get really frustrated and it's just like my soul feels like it's being crushed sometimes. You know, you have sometimes, these things that you have no control over. So when it comes to event production, we're a little behind the scenes here. There are uncontrollables and a lot of communicating, but sometimes not equaling the action that is communicated. And so you play this dance of being frustrated with the timing of others, but also not even that, not that people don't respect whatever that is, that may be with their timing. Life. Other people have life. Like, there's so much shifting going on. I can't be mad at anyone for even forgetting a time or being confused about something, because I know exactly where we are, and we're in a cymatic pattern shift, and grains of salt are maneuvering to different places, and so it's doing something it's not normally doing because it's in travel. It's in transition, and so it's not used to being in this state of transition. So it may bounce to the right, bounce to the left as it's walking its way down this path to its new node. Please, I hope y'all were rocking with me on the cymatics tone. If you don't understand what I'm saying, you've never heard of cymatics, go to YouTube, type in cymatics, and look at the metal plate with grains of salt on it. And you'll understand what I'm talking about. So, everybody's doing weird things, and let me not call it weird. Actually, let me take that word out of there. Everybody's doing what they're doing, and if you can just allow the process to play out and kind of relax, man, I'm getting all this imagery in here. When you go down a river and there's like this little part where, whoa, you get to like go down, like it takes you down a little bit, not necessarily the rapids, but you're getting maneuvered along, and if you could just relax and lean back, like, you'll flow exactly the way you need to go, because the water doesn't stop, it keeps going. So it's been like that for me. And it's been, really about paying attention to this cosmic information as I've been looking at how things have played out in my past. And this is part of the Infinite You journey. This is why I tell stories. It allows me to close loops with a new pair of another perspective. And from this other perspective, normally if you're in this evolutionary state of the way that you're being, which I have chosen to be in that, and that's the way I live and what I exemplify and try to inspire. And so when you do that, then every point in turn you come back around, you're from a higher perspective looking down on the spiral below. And you can offer advice to it, closed loops, with which, I'm getting, man, this imagery is just coming in, like you're weaving a web. So you get to like traverse the past and the present and the future with your dreams and have it all make sense. And you're weaving this web and you're weaving this web and you're finding the other people in the web that are coherent, that are all like, oh, I'm a node going around. Like, is it just speaking about all the same things that you're talking about? And, that means we're all embedded in the new pattern. And so through this process, there have been organizations, people, places, and things that have just shifted and shifted and shifted and put me into a point of pressurized, alchemy, where I had to sit back and let the slag or whatever it's called to raise to the top so I can see what no longer needed. And it was the stress. It was the stress that was not needed with the situation. It was the relaxing. You could see like, oh, if I relax, that's all that needs to happen. And, I learned still a lot. And I just maneuvered and I looked at, okay, I'm assessing the situation. So we went from a $12,000 space that thought we were producing an event, talking about producing an event for next year. So we didn't really have a sense of urgency. And it was just miscommunication, misunderstanding. And so now I'm left with limited time to produce an event to the size that I was hoping for. And I held my my end to not push to get sponsorships until I have numbers, strong numbers and solid numbers to know what it is that they're paying for. So if I don't have an event space, which is one of the biggest pieces of their budgeting, until you own your own space, then you have to factor that in. And I'm not mad at anyone for not getting back to me. It was whatever misunderstanding, and those are things that I cannot control. And so when you don't get pissed off, I mean, who am I going to yell at? I mean, why'd you not remember? Like, that's beyond the point. So crunch time came down, and the place wound up being way more than we could afford. So then we maneuver. Okay, what else is in your wheelhouse? What's in your network? Who do you know? What do you know? What are you trying to do? What do you need? Okay, boom. Now we're going to the next space. Oh, wow. Okay. But we also have a conversation with the potential laser company, and they want to do lasers in order to sponsor. And you don't really have anybody else chomping at the bit or communicating in a way that is like, wow, this may pan out quickly for another sponsorship. And now the space that you're going to check out is in a part of the city that doesn't allow lasers, or it's also not enough time to get it approved. And so now we're like, oh wow, then that space, it was going to be within the budget, possibly still pushing it because we don't hold the funds. The funds are coming from selling tickets, sponsorship vendors, and stuff like that. So everything has to make sense. All these different numbers and things, and your crew that's volunteering in hopes of like having a successful event for the community in our city, are just there to support. And it's my dream. So we're relaxing into what's transpiring and who you're meeting, who's coming in front of you, what bits of information they're giving you, even if it's not the one you weren't expecting, right? You go have a meeting, you're like, oh wow, you think you're going to get $15,000 in sponsorship immediately, and it winds up being like, no, what are you talking about? And but then they give you information because they believe in the project, and so you're able to speak to it to someone that possibly does have the funds, but may also have just a network and a resource, or just can put a thought into your head and have you start maneuvering where you're communicating with other possible collaboration opportunities. And so that's what has transpired. And then what landed in our lap was a space I wasn't even thinking about. And I wasn't even really aware that it was as amazing as this thing is winding up to be for this year's bigger coming out party for the Mayan Day at a Time celebration. This is going to be, I already know because we've already locked in the space. It was donated to us, guys. This is the San Antonio Botanical Gardens. I highly recommend going to check them out, San Antonio Botanical Gardens, and then type in Betty Kelso Center. And you can look at the venue. It doesn't do it, the pictures do it no justice. So we're going to have some San Antonio native like TikTok livers that are going to go and record pretty much the whole event on their TikTok live. So I'll give the links for all that stuff. Hopefully you listen to this podcast before the event so you can actually be in tune in some form or fashion no matter where you are. Because letting it flow and allowing trust to be a part of what you are, because, we all want to be trusted. And in order to be trusted, we must trust. And, I don't know, is it the mirror smiling or are you smiling? So we got to figure out at what point are we pushing this being better? And for me to not get frustrated and upset about whatever is happening and then allowing, this maneuvering to just transpire. The Botanical Gardens donated, a space that's, the $9,500. Huge chunk of money. We do have to pay for staffing. So if you're also listening to this and you're in a position to throw some financial donations to support everything we do, even if it's after, because we host this every year and next year is going to be bigger and better. And that's what we do every year. It's always been a level up. And, we make sure we have air-conditioned space and adequate restrooms. And, so far all of them have been wheelchair compliant. And, so we do things for the family and to show how to be this earth steward at the same time, connecting to information that is guiding you towards bigger purpose and passions, to unite with like-minded souls that are here to co-create heaven on earth. And so, this is what we're doing. This is what the event is about. It's not a secret. I'm not hiding behind, oh, don't say spiritual. Honestly, right now, I'm at a point, my guides keep, all the information that comes in, whether it's a song or whatever. And that's when I say my guides, it's like information that comes in very abstract. But it's very coherent at the same time, if that makes sense, right? So it could be like a thought in my head about how to solve a particular problem or issue that I may be going through, and then the solution pops up on an email, or the description of the person's title in the email that was sent that's spam or something. It could be just so random. So that's the abstract part, but it's literally in coherence with what you're thinking, whatever issue that you're trying to process through. And so, we're here solving problems with what kind of issues the world has, and how we can be that marking tone, that setting a tone of our future, and the botanical gardens, and, the possibilities with the everyone that's bringing their medicine, their magic to this space. It's going to create an event, an atmosphere of hope and of groundedness and being centered and connected and not alone. And, these are the things that we put together. And so I thank y'all for listening to the Herald. And, when you listen to that song, Hark the Herald Angels Sing, harking means to pay close attention to. And the herald is me, it's a messenger. And so don't shoot the messenger, but pay close attention to the messenger, because there is a resonant tone, a frequency that I am here to guide and just allow a reflection of what you wish to see in the world. If you want to see more humans doing things that you may not be able to do actively, like go to every school and say, yo, do you got a garden? Cool, we're coming in, putting a garden. That's a lot of work. It's nothing to be taken lightly. There's a lot of maneuvering to get to that point. But I am here for that. And I have figured out ways to expand that past San Antonio into other cities, into the nation, into the world, where we have an abundance of everything that we need. And I'm talking about food, water, electricity, shelter. The Herald, me, I got a whole freaking network of crew, they're doing it. We're taking trash and we're taking lemons and making lemonade. And a lot of these organizations, so many people have just not even heard about. And we have another cosmic event that will be leading us in through to the next 2 years, the 8/2/2027, with a totality eclipse that goes over Luxor, Egypt, and Temple of Hathor, Isis and Cairo, and just, through Egypt. And, the synchronicities that have also slowed me down in some parts with producing the event, where I felt the detour is absolutely needed, was to connect with people that are part of my story, that lead us into Egypt and that take us back to, 7/14/2020, when we had the CE5 meditation in Kerrville, or potentially it's a CE6. I don't know. I got to get the details on that. Just to intrigue, what's a CE6? I don't know yet. Let's figure it out. Mark Sims knows. Anyway, just throwing out some little galactic hints. All right, so where are we at? Ah, that's right. I gotta let y'all know who our sponsors are. All right, so we have some amazing sponsors this year. And one of the organizations I'm proud to be a part of, and Elle is doing an amazing job of bringing a crazy bunch of people together that just have amazing stories. And so that is Ascension Institute. They, from the Beings book to Ascension Institute to Elle and to everything that the organization is putting together, you can find them at ascendinginstitute.com. And so there's a book coming out, Different Paths to Source. That'll be released soon. The documentary Interdimensional is coming out. They did sponsor the Mayan Day at a Time celebration. And we do have some custom pendants that you can purchase through us. You have to reach out to me personally. So many things, I haven't put them up on the Etsy site and all that. I need to add them, but if you reach out to me, you can get your very own. If you go on their website, you can see the amazing logo that my buddy Hugh put together for us. And what Ascension Institute, I want to make sure you don't get confused. Ascending Institute is the name, is the website, and Ascension Institute is our other this amazing company, right? So we're putting people together so we can fund projects, potentially around the world that are bringing and advancing programs that are here to elevate our world in all the different ways. So the team has assembled, and there is a group that is here just to give everyone hope, and they're helping me out so I can help you guys out. And so that's freaking amazing. So go find them, become a member of of our group, and to give us your projects. Let us know what kind of things we can do to come and assist you. All right. So thank you for that. And thank you again, Ascension Institute, for being a part of my life. And we're absolutely grateful to have you on this ride with us. All right, guys. So back to the crux of everything with this episode of Let It Flow. Now that we have our event space, we are getting, our sponsors are coming in. I'm actually on my way to take some cash from Tammy over there at Perfect Love, Perfect Trust at Wonderland of the Americas. If anyone here in San Antonio is familiar, you can check them out and pull up their website real quick. And you can also find her store at, there we go. You can find her store, perfectloveperfecttrust.com is the website. And at Rolling Oaks Mall. So we have Rolling Oaks Mall and we have Wonderland of Americas. Go to her website, sign up for the newsletter, all kinds of, ways to show appreciation for our sponsors is by, connecting with them and letting them know that you're seeing them because of, who led you to them, which is us, right? Infinite You, our Mind at a Time. So another one of our amazing sponsors, Tammy, she's the owner and the healer, and she's got everything there. From Reiki, sound healing, chakra balancing, tuning fork cleansing, intuitive readings, coaching, mentoring, and we have some holographic stickers there. And you know what? I may just talk her into having some of our Orgonite pendants. She's just a little scared because some of them are pricey. Let me make some low-priced ones for you guys, and that way y'all can go get pendants with Perfect Love, Perfect Trust in Wonderland of the Americas Mall and at Rolling Oaks Mall. All right. We love you, Tammy. Thank you for your support. Okay, guys and gals and ETs and androgynous beings. where are we going if we were just to allow ourselves to let it flow? We have an opportunity to manifest our dreams if we can just sit back. And you know what? Let me pull back on that for just a second. Because I do want to make sure that the systems that are, kind of the two most potent modalities that I use, today is the galactic calendar system and the human design system. And in human design, not all of us are built to respond like I am. And that doesn't mean not to trust. It just means when I get frustrated from attempting to initiate things and like push the envelope and keep trying to go forward with one thing and being more or less stubborn or hard on myself for things not panning out, that's for me and my human design is to respond. And for others, it's to initiate. They're going to be better with just giving information and saying, this is what I'm going to do. And then they go do it without, whatever. But the other thing is to take the information from others in too. And when you do that, you get data back and like, oh, well, let me make the conscious decision not to go right now because you're using the bathroom. And, it plays out in a lot of funny ways. Or you're waiting for an invitation, which looks different than just waiting on a response or waiting to respond, as a manifesting generator or a projector. If you don't know what I'm talking about with the human design system, please go to our, we have the link on our website or even our link tree, and you will find our courses. I believe my schedule, it should be turned off for right now until I get done with this Mind at a Time celebration. But if you're listening to this or you're ready after the 25th of July, maybe even a few days after that, because, producers need to take care of themselves, especially like you push some shit like this out into the world. You manifest a baby, a creation, a whole event where like all these people have birthed all these different ideas that hit the world and come back to you. Oh my gosh, it's a thing. It's exhausting, but it's also so rewarding and so fulfilling and gives me a lot of energy. Then I use that to go like relax or go swimming or go connect with the family and just take like some time off. And I'm telling you this part of my story because that's advice. That's guidance right there. I'm telling you what I do, how I take care of myself. Even with all the hard work, I still get a lot of time with my partner, with my family, with my children, and with myself, even just myself. Like being here right now, this is what I love to do. Tell stories, talk about this stuff, and this is a moment for me. It doesn't even really feel like work, even though it does right now, because we're at 33:03. Whew, I've been talking a lot. So let me wind this down and kind of, just make sure that we're in a let it flow kind of mode and also recognizing the opportunities that we have here with Infinite You on how we can help you figure out what that flow looks like for you. It's going to look different, right? It's going to look different, but there are key markers that we can help you with. And so please find us on the link tree or whatever and sign up for a course and give me some time after the 25th of July. Make it the 27th of July just to be on the good side. Okay, let's see. So now we have our event. We manifested, $9,500 is discounted from us having to pay, and we still have staff to pay, and we're selling tickets, and everything's going smooth. Now we have Perfect Love, Perfect Trust is donated, and we'll see what happens with Motion Lasers. So if they get back and they're like, yo, we want to put in $1,500, then we're really sitting pretty where our event has been sponsored from others, and whatever comes in from vendors and ticket sales, we get to invest that back into Infinite You, myself, my partner, my family. Like I haven't made decent money in a while. We're behind in a lot of things, and so this would actually be the money that to put in all this work to finally get some kind of reward from it and pay some debts down and get into a more financially comfortable space for me, my family, and my inner circle, my heart. And so we're all going through it. We're all being squeezed from the outside looking in with some of these things that are produced. They look, a lot of glitz and glamour, and we get gifted things, so it looks like we bought a lot of stuff, but really we're just being gifted things. And we're doing bartering and trading because we're artists, or we have a network, or we have something that's of value that isn't necessarily money. And, it looks like that's what I've been able to manifest in this stuff. And I've presented myself as, I've positioned myself because of what I want to see in the world. I want to see more beacons of hope. I want to see more events like I produce. I want to see more people being honored in all the ways that they come and not being judged. So that's what I do. And I want to open the door for collaboration with people that have different, belief systems or whatever. But at the end of the day, the way you move through the world and how you respect others is the way that I will... what word do I want to use? It ain't judgy. You ain't being judgy, Harold. Are you being judgy? No. It's recognizing patterns and knowing when to have boundaries for yourself and to maintain posture when confronted with things, and also creating a sacred space for you and your loved ones. And so I don't even know where I was going with that, because I had a whole thing. Recently, Infinity has been, slandered a little bit out there. I'm not going to say no names. I shouldn't even be saying right now. Let's move on with perfect love and perfect trust. But it's about creating a sacred space, and that's what we do. I pay attention to quite a bit in order to maintain coherence, harmony, and also allowing a little bit of the, realness to come through. This isn't about being all spiritually blissed out, but quite honestly, that's what happens. And then there's 3 people that had some kind of a rough time with something that had nothing to do with me 99.9% of the time, right? Uncontrollable things. There was no toilet paper in there. Well, you were the only one, and when you did it, anyway, right? That didn't even happen. I'm just saying, because we stocked the restrooms full of toilet paper. So figure out who and what you are, your cosmic sign. That's what the whole message is, and enjoy this ride. This is going to be a mile marker, not just for, this year's Mind at a Time, but for humanity, because this strikes a tone, once again, just creates a nodal point where we come together, and the information goes back out, and it does its thing. And so next year is going to be, exponentially a different thing. So if you're ever in the San Antonio area in July, why don't you come by the Mind at a Time celebration, book a flight, make sure you come in. You want to be a sponsor for next year. You want to support, you want to donate, you want to be a subscriber. You want to support by purchasing some of our amazing product services and things like that. You are much obliged. We would appreciate the support. Don't forget the people that are out there doing the real work, not to say anybody's doing no work, but hey, what we're doing over here is quite cool. I want you all to be a part of it and have your stake in the claim. All right. With that, we want y'all to love always in all ways. Peace.
It's the birth of a new way on planet Earth. We welcome this new day on planet Earth. It's the birth of a new way on planet Earth. We welcome this new day on planet Earth. If I commit to make a shift, will you commit to give your gift? If we be the change that we wanna see, the shift comes down to you and me. It's the birth